Esther. Help me with my food that is inside there. Help me take it to this thing. Help me get a drink. Just help me get something I can.
Testing, testing. Daryl from Abuja here. Afternoon.
Hello, yeah.
This is Daryl from Abuja. How are you doing?
Good afternoon.
Make the measure.
Good afternoon, Charles. How are you doing?
Good. Is that Aisha?
Okay, make the be two.
Who's there? Tunde, are you there?
Dig, and when the measure.
I was standing by for Tunde.
Tunde, are you there?
Let them dig and like just dig that small hole, like say 2 feet. Made them dig on bed. Forget that. Tell them, if they don't want to dig, made them go now. And then they pay them one couple. Hello? Hello?
Hello, who's there? David from Abuja here.
Brian is here.
Oh, good. We're almost open. It like met as a boom Zoom. Yeah, cool. You can use the okay. Bleisure. Brian Effa.
Yeah, Brian Effa is here. I can hear you.
Hi, Brian Devold. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Good, good. Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm at Uyo.
Oh, yeah, okay. Did you play golf this morning?
No, the golf course is closed for now.
Bad news, bad news.
Bad news, really bad news.
Okay, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. How's Abuja?
Cool and calm, bit cloudy, all peaceful.
All right, it's actually very wet this other way down south.
Okay. Okay, a lot of rains.
Yeah.
Ah, sorry, Ben, sorry.
It's okay.
Hi, Bon. Beautiful place in Oyo State. Brian, have you guys opened yet? Are you open for business? Say mic is on.
Hello? Yeah?
Huh?
Eh? Make them leave now, don't worry. Let them leave. Instead of that, pay other people to dig them. Instead of that, pay another person, make him dig them. Instead of it to pay him. To pay them, gather people dig them 2 feet. Yes. So to them, let them go. And just back them, make them not work there again. Though. I really laugh. Yes, now.
I'm going to go on. That opportunity, I'm going to for the future. Business, I'm not going to so that she can using this to supply the eggs. For now, everywhere now, I'm not. Good, I'll be good. I'm going to go to the single box. You continue.
Hello? Yeah? Oh, sorry.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for the third edition in our Zoom meeting series. Today, we are focusing on the accommodation sector. And we'll be looking at how the accommodation sector can play a strong role in growing domestic tourism in Nigeria. We know that with COVID-19, it is going to take a while for international travel to kick off fully. And so all sectors of the tourism industry will still be slow to recover. However, all over the world, countries are working on strategies to activate domestic tourism and to increase where they have strong domestic tourism, the numbers, so that tourism services can still thrive. I'm sure that this being a session for hotels, for accommodation, there will be lots of hoteliers here. I'm sure you'd have noticed that significant drop in your occupancy, especially with international business visitors. As a destination that depends so much on business tourists, how do we then start to build domestic tourism, to start to get numbers from Nigerians to enjoy our tourism products for leisure? Now, the idea is that accommodation, which comprises of hotels, apartments, glamping, camping, and every other kind of accommodation service, should be able to play a strong role in helping the industry to grow domestic tourism. So how are we collaborating with other sectors of the tourism industry? This is what we're discussing today, and we're happy to have panelists who will be helping us look at these issues. And these panelists today include Aisha Yusuf, who is the founder of the H Network, Mr. Brian Effa, who is the GM of Ibom Hotel and Golf Resorts. I see that both of them are here with us already. And we also have Diwal Kruger, who is the GM of the Envoy Abuja. He's also, I think he was the first to join, second. Thank you so much. And then Tunde Oduyoye. I hope I pronounced that. Please pardon me. I'm sure Mr. Tunde will join us shortly. So we'll be looking at these issues, and we'll try to see how we can get to the crux of the matter in no time. Thank you so much for everyone who has joined. For those who have joined from the previous two editions of this Zoom meeting series, I'm sure you'd have noticed how we have built up till now. And the issues, the major reason why we're doing this, some have asked, why really are we doing this? What do we want to achieve? And so what we want to achieve is getting a movement going as private sector. Over time, we have depended a lot on our public sector. Yes, it's very important that you get government support and all of that, but history has shown that private sector has a lot to do, especially with tourism. Private sector is the driver of tourism, especially domestic tourism. And in the past, it's been said that in the past, we have done a lot to promote domestic tourism in Nigeria. I mean, you can look at the works of people like Donald Duke, who was the past governor of Cross River State. He did amazing stuff promoting tourism in Cross River State. We've had a lot of DGs of entities who have done a lot as well. But one thing that has been missing all through is the fact that successive institutions have not carried along the private sector. And so there's a disconnect in our tourism. The channels are not working in Nigeria, and that is the plain truth. For every other destination that you visit, when you attend trade fairs, for example, you see that you have the stand of these tourism boards, and then you have tour operators who are there, who are selling products. In Nigeria, usually when you visit our stands at trade shows, you find that we just have beautiful pictures of tourism attractions around Nigeria. So is it sufficient to just show pictures and say, look, we have 50 waterfalls, we have mountains, we have this? The tourists who will visit and spend money will not have time to start to do all of those calculations, all of those planning. Yes, there are some who will take out time to plan, but not every tourist will have the time to want to start to plan his trip. And that's where you need products. Everywhere in the world, there are products for tourism, whether it is Dubai with the desert safari and Dow cruise and all of those, or South Africa with the city tours and Robben Island and all of those. There are identifiable products all over the world. And so these are the issues we'll be discussing to see how we can get all of the sectors in our tourism industry collaborating. So without wasting time, this is 4:05. We'll be going straight to the first, to the questions for the first panelist for today, and that's Brian Effa. Thank you so much for being here, sir. Kindly unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much, Efe. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. How's Uyo?
Uyo is wet. You know, it's actually raining. It's been raining since yesterday.
Yeah, so it means that your grasses will be much greener. Those beautiful lush gardens you have there.
Yeah, they need to do a lot of gardening as well.
Definitely, definitely. So let's go straight to the questions I have for you, Mr. Brian. Now, data shows that Nigeria performs low in terms of tourist spending. In 2006, there was a MasterCard report that shows that even though we have a lot of numbers coming into Nigeria, the average spend, specifically for Lagos, was about $76 per night. When you compare this to other African cities, you're getting $176, you're getting $165 and all of that. So it shows that when tourists are visiting our country, they are not spending money. So this means as well that our business tourists are just visiting and then they are leaving immediately after their trip. So what do you think we can do to increase the number of leisure tourists and to make our business visitors to spend more time to visit our local attractions, so that instead of staying 3 nights for a business trip, for example, they're adding 1 or 2 nights to visit local attractions, like you, for example, that beautiful city?
Okay, thank you very much. Basically, we need to situate the challenges properly so we can find the solution. Basically, when it comes to international tourist spending, Nigeria is not very close to the likes of South Africa and Kenya. And this is, and then when it comes to business travel, you see that Nigeria actually have quite a big number. The implication of this is that most people travel to Nigeria for business. And after the business, instead of taking some few days, like for instance, if you have Nigerians traveling to the UK for training, they spend additional 1 week to sightsee. But that's not the case in Nigeria. Most people, once they are in Nigeria and they are actually done with their business, they move on immediately back to their destination. And this is really very simple. Basically, Nigerian destination problem is infrastructure. It is infrastructure, basically. If I have to travel to Ekiti from Lagos, when I land from the international travel in Lagos, do my business, and the weekend I want to go to Ekiti to see the tourist attraction there, what would be my basic challenge? How do I get to Ekiti from Lagos? Do I have a train to Ibadan and then join a taxi to Ekiti to look at the tourism site there? That is really a major challenge. So for us as a country, government must have a conscious effort to promote infrastructure to give infrastructure that promotes tourism. Apart from Cross River State, during Donald Duke, there was a conscious effort to promote tourism. I don't think there's any state government that has put in a lot in terms of tourism investments. So what do we have to do? Basically, we need to develop the destination. If I'm in Ikoyi doing business, how long does it take me to go to the beaches in the beach at Eleko Beach or any other beach that stays along that route. So the problem basically is infrastructure, like I mentioned. So there must be a conscious effort of government to invest in infrastructure. I'll tell you, for instance, in Akwa Ibom State, we have a beautiful Ibom hotel with the golf course, the best in West Africa, and a very good landscape and a good hotel. What did the government do? They constructed a very massive road from the airport. First of all, they brought the airport and then brought in a very massive road that you can drive for up to 30 kilometers without a single pothole. And what does that? What that does is that it can bring traffic. It now brings traffic from the airport straight to the hotel, and people can stay, at the hotel, knowing that there are also, they can travel at any time they want to travel, and the roads are good, the traffics are not there. So this must be something that that we really is available to encourage tourists to stay. And then the other thing is the destination itself. The destination itself must be worth it. It must be homely, it must be accommodating, it must have variety. Rather than a small room in a small space that you have, like in cities like Lagos, you need a bigger room, bigger space to explore and look at nature in itself. And then you can now use that to leverage on your opportunity to meet up other destinations around the state.
Thank you. So I get it from what you have just said, that is important for hotels to advise their guests to enjoy the local attractions. So basically, just like you have said, yes, government has to put those infrastructure in place, but then once they get into the hotel, then the hotel should take it as a point of duty to, advise guests, about attractions that they can visit around. And just like you said, it's not about the hotel. It also has to be about the beauty of the destination. My next question, interestingly, there's a comment on the chat box that tallies with the next question I have for you. Let me just read what Michael Balogun, who is the CEO of Tours Nigeria, is saying. He says, my main question is why do hotel owners why are hotel owners not interested in partnering with tour operators? I have approached many hotels in Lagos here, and they tell me they don't do business with third party. I've explained to most of them the value added service to their clients, apart from providing just accommodation and meals. Okay, so yes. So basically, what he's saying is, just like I said in my intro, there seems to be a disconnect between the sectors in the industry. A number of hotels in Nigeria, permit me to say most of the hotels in Nigeria do not at this point collaborate with tour operators. And we know that tourism thrives on collaboration between those sectors. As a hotel, as Ibom Hotel and Golf Resorts, what strategies do you have to work with other sectors? Well, of course, I know that you are one of those hotels who collaborate. I mean, we've done a lot of, we did a farm tour with Ibom Hotel in the past, but beyond that, what strategies do you have to encourage collaboration with other sectors, and what ideas do you have going forward?
Okay, the question that the participants did ask, I quite really understand how it feels. And I mean, I've been in Lagos for quite a while. And I think what bothers every hotel person in a city like Lagos is that let's just sell the rooms. And of course, in every other city, what matters is that how many rooms can we sell per night? What can be our average rate? But I mean, when you go to other parts of the world, you see that there is really a collaboration. When you get to the hotel, what you see the city map, for instance, and then you see the tour guide booklet in the hotel. So for Ibom Hotel specifically, we are partnering, for instance, with Ibom Tourism. We are partnering with the tourism board, and what we have done is that we have developed a tourist site, manual that once you check in at the hotel, we can now hand you over this manual, and then we have our tour operators who are also on ground to say once you book, your destination. I mean, once you book your tour, we give a city tour. So I'll take for instance like last week I just signed a collaboration with the tourism board where every weekend, every Friday, Saturday and Sunday we can afford our guests the opportunity to visit a lot of places in the state. The good thing is that Nigeria has a lot of natural tourist sites, which are basically undeveloped. They are either underdeveloped or they are not developed at all. So what we have done, like I said, is that we have signed partnership with about 2 tour operators down here in Uyo, where you can never miss it once you are here. Unfortunately, in talking in general terms, and like I did mention earlier in my response, is that hoteliers are more interested in increasing their occupancy than anything else. Once you are here, you sleep, you cover the room, our occupancy is high, and of course, at the end of the day, we get a good average rate, and that is it. So I want to use the opportunity to encourage every hotelier that once you include some tour packages as part of your value-added services to your guests, what that is going to do is that it's going to drive the numbers. It's going to drive, people, holiday makers into the country, into your state, into your hotel, such that by weekend they can book their flights. After their meetings on Friday, they can take a tour on Saturday and Sunday, and then probably travel out on Sunday evening to their various destinations. So that is what we have done as a hotel to ensure that our guests are not, and of course, in the entire country, our hotel has become a tourist center. Like when you see some other hotels post very low occupancy during festive period, we actually post very high occupancy during festive period. So that is how our hotel has been designed, as a tourist center. No one comes here and doesn't want to go back. And when you are here, we put on a lot of activities. A lot of activity beyond even buying food and sleeping in the room, to put a lot of activity to ensure that you enjoy your stay. In fact, quite recently we included the game center for the kids, because our hotel has become a family hotel. So we included a game center for the kids, so that while you are busy with your business, you are busy with your partner or with your spouse, the kids can be playing games. While they are here. So that is how we have. What we have done to increase the number in terms of domestic tourism.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I want to put you on the spot now. You just said that you work with tour operators in Uyo, Ibom Tourism, who I know so well and we work with as well. How about other tour operators? Do we say that this is a commitment from you that going forward, once tour operators approach you, from wherever part of the country they come from, they will get the same kind of treatment that they will get from Ibom Tourism?
Yeah, incidentally, about 70% of our business comes from outside of Uyo, Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt. Those are where our major customers are. And of course, we would not be able to drive the kind of patronage that we have if we are not collaborating with other tour operators. So for us, we are open. And I want to use this to tell tour operators that we are open to do business with you, should you want to do it.
Thank you very much. So tour operators who are here, even though I know there are more hoteliers here, but the few tour operators who are here, you've gotten that. I'm sure Ibom Hotel is one of those hotels who collaborate, and they're willing to speak to you. So let's take this forward and see how we can work closer with them. You mentioned something about the attractions around. And my next question for you is about the advantage of marketing the destination in addition to marketing the hotel. So for example, when you look at your offering, when you put out a promotion, for example, how is it beneficial to advertise the destination as well as the hotel? So it's like you have a choice of either saying, come to Ibom Hotel, or come to Uyo, or come to Ibom Hotel and enjoy Uyo. how do you think there is that benefit coming to the hotel if you also market the city or the destination where you're in?
Yeah, I think, thank you, Ife. I think previously, we were basically marketing our accommodation, our brands, and the kind of offerings we have from within the hotel. I barely took over the mantle of leadership in the hotel from February, and since then we've been discussing with a lot of collaboration, including with Ibome, how you can fly and sleep, or sleep and fly. We have that kind of collaboration, which I didn't mention in the last question. But basically, what we have done is that we have actually changed the way we do our marketing. Our marketing right now, in collaboration with the State Tourism Board, we are marketing the state. We are marketing the state as a full package. And we are also looking at the situation where your entire room rates will include, destination visits, places of attraction, and that is how we are collaborating. So for us, going forward post COVID-19, what you'll be seeing in most of our advertorial, our marketing collateral, you're going to be seeing us pushing up the golf course, pushing up other tourism attractions, so that once you are here, you are not just coming to sleep and going to have a business meeting, but you are coming here to sleep, have your business meeting, and on weekends you can go to place like Economies, where you have the Lord Lugard house. You are going to the bunkers in Itu, and you are going to see a lot of other places that has before now not been fully developed. And for us as a hotel, we have also made representation to the tourism board to ensure that some of these places are well developed, so that when tourists go there, they can have good access to the place, and then of course run back to the hotel before night falls. So for us as a hotel, we are no longer marketing accommodation and our food services. We are marketing the entire destination with you as a state, and we are collaborating with the likes of Ibom Air, so that you can fly and sleep, or you sleep and fly. So that's the package that will be coming up as you proceed in business post COVID-19.
Perfect, Mr. Brian. Thank you so much for putting a smile on my face this afternoon, and for setting the tone for this meeting. I will see if there are a few questions for you before we go to the next panelists. Mr. Olayinka Dare is saying, getting a booking ahead for festive period in Calabar and Uyo is quite difficult, as the hotels don't respond to agents, or they inflate price without any notice despite sending a quote. Really needs agent support. Okay, I know of Calabar. I'm not sure this is true for Uyo, but please respond to that, sir.
Yeah, I think for our hotel specifically, I want to speak for Ibom Hotel. We actually discount our rates for the festive period, and we are always overbooked. We are always overbooked, always. But even at that, we do not increase our prices. Our prices. What we rather do is that if we have other festivity, like we have the children party, we have the family picnic, we have the coconut party, or we have the poolside party and all of that, then you can pay a fee to get there. But in terms of our rate, we actually offer it at very ridiculous discounts than you have it on during a business trip. So, but for Calabar, yes, that does happen, because of course, Calabar is almost empty until it is time for carnival, and every businessman will want to rake in, during that period. So that might not be unconnected with business opportunity. But talking about it in terms of, I think the person did mention non-response to reservation and all of that. Maybe perhaps they are overwhelmed, or maybe I can't take excuses for them. But for us, we do not increase prices. So, and of course, our reservation team is always on ground to respond to changes in pricing, if at all we have.
Thank you for that response. And let me quickly say this about Calabar. I know that one of the issues has always been that Calabar carnival. And the truth is, even personally, we've had that issue. And that is why 4 years ago, no, about 5 years ago, we started doing Calabar Carnival packages. So every year I was personally hosting a group to Calabar Carnival. And what we'll do is we'll do 3 nights first in Obudu, and then the last 3 nights we'll do to stay in Calabar so we can enjoy the. But then after two years, the third year I had a major issue of this same kind of change. Last minute, the hotel association meets and then they say they increase their rates and then they say you must do a minimum of 5 nights. And I'm wondering, why would a Nigerian be traveling anywhere in Nigeria and have to stay a minimum of 5 nights? You know, it makes no well, I don't know who has that kind of time. And I think that is something that hotel associations need to look for us to. It is one thing to want to take advantage of the season. Yes, wonderful. But the truth is, when you overdo it, you make the guests totally lose interest in the destination. So that festival or the reason why it is peak season for that hotel or city should be the reason, should be a way to entice visitors to come for the rest of the year. And that's why you realize that most times for Calabar, December is the only time where you have hotels filled up. When you should be able to drive traffic to Calabar every other month because it's a beautiful city. So thank you for your responses, Mr. Brian. Let me see if there's one more response for you. I still have 3 minutes for you before we go to the next panelist. So let me see. Okay, so we have a question from Amaka Amatoku, who says, what measures have you put in place to maintain your service standard in order to attract visitors? Service standard.
All right. Is that question for me or for all? All right. I will respond with yes, I will respond with specifics to our hotel. I think we are one of those hotels that have a well-structured training department. We have a training manager, we have a training room, we have a training department. And of course, during the, as an aftermath of the COVID-19, we have been running a series of training because our procedures have changed. Our SOPs have changed as well. So we've been running training for our staff, how they would deal with this. So in terms of service standard, I would say that we are one hotel that have a dedicated training department that, you know, runs through the training on, you know, every half year. We train and retrain and keep retraining. And of course, we also go out to get best hands that can actually deliver on our promises.
Great. Thank you for your responses, and we truly do appreciate your contribution today. Of course, if there are any other specific questions for Ibom Hotel, we'll call back on you. So let's please move to the next panelist, Aisha Yusuf. Are you here? Okay, yes, she's here. Hi,
yes,
Aisha.
Hello.
Hi, Aisha, we can hear you.
Hi, it's nice to be here. It's great conversation so far.
Thank you so much for joining us and for making out time from your busy schedule to be with us. I'm sure, obviously, you're one of our panelists because we see how much work you do in the hospitality sector and how much of a passion you have for domestic tourism.
Thank you very much.
Aisha is the founder of the Haste Network, and I'm sure you get to talk about what you do. So let me go straight to the question. The first question I have for you, and that is, please, first of all, share the properties, some of the properties that you manage around Nigeria, and then with your on-the-ground experience, you know, working in different regions around Nigeria, how do you think hospitality management companies can help to promote the cities or destinations where they have their sister properties so that we can enhance social integration?
Okay, thank you very much, Ife. So properties I manage span from the southeast with Funitel, the Bush House in Enugu, Funitel in Oka, Shalom as well in Anambra State, Oakland in Enugu. I also have a few projects in the southeast and some north or north central when you think about Kaduna, Niger, and the rest. Um, for South South, I've only collaborated based on a package for tourism, so I wouldn't really classify them as clients, but I do have a few clients that are looking to collaborating with tourism agencies or tour agencies that can help give visibility to their properties. And the second question about, based on the ground knowledge, how hospitality management companies can help promote destinations. It's still back to the social integration, but it's about collaboration still. I've said this in a few other meetings, and I'm going to keep saying it that collaboration is the next competition, it's a new competition, and that means that you cannot thrive if we're not all holding hands, especially now that COVID has created some kind of instability with the hospitality and tourism industry. It's important to have an idea of what you're selling and why you're selling it. So now that the borders or the international borders are closed, you know that people are going to be looking out for, oh, I think somebody's on. So people are going to be looking out for places they can go to within Nigeria. But there is a why. So why do I go there? Why should I why should I spend money going there? It should give them the kind of trips that they would have if they were to choose some other foreign country outside Nigeria. So I think the best way followed by plannings with this organization. So if you know a tour company, hotels, just saying, okay, we're selling these hotels and the plus is this tour agency. So collaboration is that. I hope that answers the question. Hi, Ife, are you there?
Okay, I think I was muted.
Okay.
Great. So my next question will be, how can hospitality concerns help or contribute to the maintenance of local tourism attractions, including and especially wildlife, which is very close to my heart, seeing that these attractions could also be a pull factor to their own sustenance and survival?
Okay, thank you. First things first, before hospitality can come into helping the maintenance of local tourist attraction, they must first, in their own way, have some kind of reevaluation of what their business is. They have to restructure their plans, restructure their customer service, restructure their approach and their SOPs, just like my colleague from Ibom Hotel was talking about. There are new approaches to this. So before we even start to promote it, they must clean house, and they must be ready to actually face what's going on out there. And before they can do that, or before they can involve other people in this collaboration, this partnership that we're talking about, they must be ready to give cutting edge, because nobody wants to settle for less right now. Money has more value, not apart from how we used to see it. It's like, if I'm spending this, it has to be worth it, And then it's in Nigeria again, and we already don't really appreciate ourselves. So they want to really be blown away. They want service like no other. They want something that they would get in another country, which is just making them feel like, they're welcomed. So if these local tourist attractions can first of all re-evaluate themselves, replan their approach and strategy, then they can now say, hey, we're not just going to be showing people wildlife. We're going to show them wildlife with a difference, and probably put up some show, some monkey doing something. It has to be something that keeps the people coming back. It just can't be, so the animals there, come see. There has to be something extra, because people would travel to Kenya to see that same set of animals that they could see in Nigeria. But if they were able to see that in the way they would see it in Kenya, I think it would make a lot of difference, knowing that there's a plus to that trip, to that stay, to that experience. So if you're selling an experience, it shouldn't just be the location alone or the stay. It should be like the full the full journey from start to finish and why they'll come back again. Because most people in Nigeria, what I've noticed about local tourism is that they go to a place for once and like, yeah, I've been there. I don't want to go there again. Next, what's coming up next? You know, but we should be creating experiences that make people want to go back to that same location over and over again, because it was one it was one experience that they couldn't get over. They didn't finish experiencing it in just that one time. They want more. That is what we should be creating. And that means that we have to be innovative. The only way this industry is going to survive is if we put up new things that people haven't seen before, because, well, Dubai kind of puts up quite a fight. You know, that's hard to bargain with. And when you look at it, it's almost the same cost. Literally 60% of what you spend to go to Dubai is what it will cost you to do that in-house. And people are like, I think I just go to Dubai, you know, like, you know, it's outside things. But we have to understand that we have to build it from in-house, that in-house we can be stronger. We have beauty like no man. And then we have to capture, you know, people, maybe in investments in seeing Nigeria as that tourist spot. If we can do this, then these wildlife attractions will be sustainable in their own ways. Because if they keep innovating and getting more exciting and get people to keep coming back, then other people don't have so much work to do because they're already making it exciting enough to be sustainable. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So it's all about sustainability, and you have to have a plan that's innovative because people's attention span is really short. But I'm sure that for as many people as you ask that have been to Disneyland and you ask them, they'll go again. Because they're your kids, it's going to be a yes. If it was just them on a love trip, it's going to be a yes. Whatever reason it was that made them go the first time, it's going to be a yes again because it was such an exciting experience. That is the kind of experience I think that our local tourism should bring in. And it could be local flavor. It could be some dance, some tribal things, some food, some kind of experience that makes you just want to say, you know what, I want to go back and try what X they have. So if we have this mindset of consistent, what would I call it? Innovations, you know, I really believe it will be easy to sustain the industry. Oh, sorry, can't hear you, Faye.
I was muted.
Yeah.
So I remember always when I think of collaboration within the sectors,
Yes.
my stay in Nairobi one time, and I would never forget that hotel. I think it was the Hilton. In the lobby, right in the lobby, once you go into the lobby, you see images, posters of local attractions, of things that you can do, you know, around. And it struck me that in our hotels in Nigeria, you hardly find those kind of reminders, if you will. So the average visitor who stays in a hotel, yes, he has come for his business. How is he then reminded that, look, besides what I've come for, I could, you know, enjoy maybe nightlife, maybe the beach nearby. Trust me, there are lots of people who have visited Nigeria who don't even know what is there. And even Nigerians who stay in hotels and then there are attractions nearby. Shockingly, there are hotels that I've even spoken to. You know, you're speaking to a concierge or to someone at the front desk, and they don't know what attractions are there to visit or how the tourists can get to visit these attractions. But just like you have said, it's quite important that these things are taken note of because that is the only way we can, you know, sustain these destinations. People will only come back when they remember all of those beautiful memories they were able to create in these cities or destinations. So my next question for you, Aisha, would be, what cross-promotion ideas with other sector players to help to increase brand visibility and engender sustainable development or sustainable tourism growth of the destination in Nigeria?
Well, I would still link it back to collaborations. But in addition to that, I would say awesome packages, which is still part of the innovations. So you have to make it something worth the trip. By the way you sell it, by the way you have it all arranged. Most people make more time to do that for foreign packages, but we could do that for, local tourism as well. Like, not only would they go to the hotel, you tell them, oh, there's this nightlife spot, in this city that serves the best fish pepper soup. They catch the fish right there, kill it. You add the excitement to it. If there are such packages that make you feel like you're going to experience life in real time, which is why people go on vacations. They feel like work is like overwhelming, or life is overwhelming, or I just want to get away from every day. So they want to go and experience life, which is really basically why people travel most times, to have different experiences from different cultures, from different lifestyles. So when you give them that opportunity to say, hey, come and experience this, you find out that they actually have more to do in doing that. And that way, it's easier to actually promote these things, because not only will the hotel try to promote more of that space if they know that it's quite an attraction where people want to, for instance, for example, have fresh fish. They know that people are going to do it. They're going to push that part of that lifestyle spot. Now, when they do that, they're not only bringing visibility to their hotel, they're bringing visibility to the attraction spot. And they also bring visibility to the location. So wherever it is in Nigeria, people start to say, oh man, I can just imagine that fish that they just caught, and you want to taste it. And that's how you start to think about it, because people want something they can relate to. So if you're selling all this high class, some sort of vacation, they'll be like, it's not this Nigeria that we're in. Not be wee, But when you sell that fresh fish right out of the sea, they killed it right there, or they grilled it right by this, they'd be like, damn, this needs to be pulling on the side. Like, they'll be thinking about it. Now, that's the story you want to sell when you're selling tourism, especially in a diverse, interesting country like Nigeria. So I think if we have that approach, it's all about the storytelling. How do you tell the story of what you want people to go experience? And I think if we have that, that would be totally awesome for the industry.
Thank you, Aisha. So finally, what practical advice do you have for the growth of domestic tourism in Nigeria?
Practical advice? Stay safe. Totally. It can't be anything more than that. Right now, all we're thinking about is learning how to live with this pandemic. We don't have a cure for it, so it means it's not going anywhere, and it means that we have to live. So if we're going to be living in our everyday lives, how can we stay safe while we live? How can we protect ourselves and still make sure that we're able to do business? How do we, make money from what we're trying to do, but due to these restrictions and of course, I won't call it self, but protective procedures, how can we still manage all of these things and still stay safe? How do we see people in this environment and make sure that they're not endangered to someone else? So basically, the practical advice is just to find how best to live with COVID. And the only way is to make sure that you're enforcing the rules based on the state you're in, which is usual use of face mask, making sure that you wash your hands, make sure that you also have points of where people can wash their hands at different areas in your establishments. Make sure you're doing the right thing, so that, because the government is really taking this really seriously. And you don't want your establishment to be one of those that they're going to shut down because you didn't follow the rules. The rules doesn't hurt anybody. Some people say COVID is a hoax. So if you think it's a hoax, stay safe still. If you think it's real, stay safe still. Any which way, staying safe and having a healthy hygiene doesn't hurt anybody. So just do the right thing. Wear your nose mask just in case. You might have a healthy immune system, but maybe your mother doesn't, your grandma doesn't, any other person you might come across doesn't. So you're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting other people around you as well. So once we start thinking about the fact that we're in protective mode, then we can actually enjoy our lifestyle knowing that, hey, I'm still living my life. I'm just making sure that, I'm not exposing myself. Now, that's, for me, is straight to point practical advice. And if I'm going to be recommending anything in terms of the growth of tourism in Nigeria, I would recommend that, first of all the tourist attraction sites should look inwards, reevaluate themselves, plan what they want, set a goal considering this COVID-related situation, and try and find how to get it. Now that way, if they're following the rules, doing what they do, innovating themselves, creating real things that tourist people would consider a tourist destination just for the experience, they should just focus on the experience. If they do that, people will come anywhere for that. You must have heard about the Amala experience. It's like people just want to go and try Amala. It's still the same Amala everywhere, but just having that Amala place, I want to go try it out. It's about the experience. So if we start to sell experience, I think it will help actually put things in perspective. Now, once you're selling that experience, it also makes other people in the industry, other party, or all your clients as well want to be part of that experience. And that's how lifestyle is. People just want to have something that makes them feel happy, makes them feel good, and makes them have a memorable experience. So that's it for me.
So, thank you so much, Aisha. We've enjoyed your contribution. Let me see from the chat if there are any specific questions for you before we go on to the next panelist. Okay, there's a comment from Mark Moore of Mostly Travels that says, can we have an email where we can open correspondence with Mostly and would like to partner with from hotel. So basically, I'd like to crave the indulgence of all the hoteliers here. Please drop your email addresses on the chat so that tour operators here can get in touch and we can start those collaborations immediately after this. Okay, so can I please ask that anyone who has a question should please drop them on the chat, or if you'd like to ask them yourself, kindly raise your hand and we'll call on you. So if you have a question or a comment for any of the panelists or concerning the issue or discuss the issue of collaboration, please raise your hand and I'll call on you.
What Sharon is doing? So what Sharon is doing?
Okay, so I have a question from, Hotel Expo Nigeria. So.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Great.
Good evening, Aisha. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Hansen, Hotel Expo Nigeria. I have a question for Aisha. My question is this. How are you actually managing businesses now in the northern part of Nigeria? I just spoke to someone earlier this morning and he said, for instance, in Kogi now, in Kogi State, the governor says there's no COVID-19. So everyone is living their lives as normal. So I asked quickly how the hotels operating there. And he simply replied and said, oh, everything is fine and well. So that's just Kogi, that's just one part. And I understand that she also covers the Abuja and all that. How are you coping in relating to hospitality businesses there in the north? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. From my experience, it's been quite challenging because even some hotel business owners are themselves in denial, and I tell them that you can only enforce what you believe in. In cases like this, you have to stay neutral. You're a business, and your first priority is your clients. So even if you don't believe it exists, if you feel it will make people feel your business is safe enough to approach, if you feel it corresponds with the federal laws, if you know that it's going to make people safer, it goes back to just following the rules and the guidelines of just basic safety procedures, washing your hands and making sure people wear nose masks. Because as I said earlier, we're living with COVID. There's no cure, so it's not exactly going anywhere. But life must continue. But how do you protect yourself as it continues? And that's what I tell my clients. They're like, I should just forget this thing now. There's nothing. And I'll be like, Oga, I understand. But you need to make your clients feel welcome. You need to make them feel safe. It's not about what you believe. It's about how you put out your business. It's how you put up, or like say, present yourself. So if you present yourself and say, hey, we are this kind of business that are taking this thing seriously, whether a day be no day, whether it's in or it's out, this is who we are, and we're going to ensure that everybody that comes here can feel safe. When you put your foot forward like that, businesses listen. Unfortunately, I'm only one person, and I may not be able to reach every single business out there to give them this perspective. Hopefully, that's why we're having conferences like this. But once there's that approach, we can get back on track from where we stopped. Because it's when people allow their clients to come in and not manage their social distancing or protective gear or wearing the face masks, that's when people get concerned. And when there's a spike, again, in numbers that they show, the government's going to shut us down. And that's why businesses are failing, and that's why people are out of jobs. So the thing is, we have to give ourselves a break. And that's the way we have to manage these things. However they want to run it, business has to run, and lifestyle is going to happen. And while business is running and lifestyle is happening, we must be able to be on point. And the only way to do that is to follow the rules. Just make sure you protect yourself. Now, that doesn't affect anybody anyway. It only makes sure that we're safer. And hey, guess what? It also helps us learn new hygiene approach. So, washing your hands has never killed anybody. It's only made us safer. So it's not like we're doing anything that should be out of the ordinary. Washing your hands should have been a norm from the beginning. So it's just more or less putting us more in perspective, especially as people in the hospitality industry, where we deal with so many people coming through. These hygienic tips are not supposed to be out of the ordinary. It's supposed to have been a usual practice. So I think this is just an enlightening time for us to make sure that we're doing the right thing. I hope that was able to answer the question, Jonathan.
Thank you. So there is another hand, Tony Kashuku. I'm unmuting you now.
Hello, everyone.
Please go ahead, Tony.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My question will go to Aisha. I understand, hotels are doing everything with the new normal. But my question is, being a client, okay, a customer, from a customer perspective, how do I know that XYZ hotel or a destination offering is putting everything people to call in place to bring back the confidence I have to want to visit that hotel or stay in that hotel or visit that attraction? I'll give an example. Coming from the airline perspective, the airlines are putting, this measures, wearing a mask when you come on board, the GP and what have you. But the issue is, how do you get the customer informed about what you are doing to bring back customer confidence? Because it's not going to be same old. A lot of things have changed. So why do I leave my house with the confidence that hotel A or tourist destination B has put every safety protocol in place for me to engender my confidence to want to visit that place? That's my question.
Okay, thanks for your question, Tony. In response to that, I would say it still goes back to customer experience. So for some of my clients that I work with presently, we have all set up hand washing stations before you enter in to the hotel. We've also made sure that there's antibacterial wipes to wipe the doorknobs and whatever surface area. We also have the temperature check system. We also have hand sanitizers. So if I go to a hotel, how do I know that they have things in place? I experience it. So I go in, they're like, okay, no vex, I better wash your hand. You wash your hand. You go in, oh, sorry, sir, please, I'd like to check your temperature. They check your temperature. Oh, sorry, please, I would like to, would you like some hand sanitizer? So you're feeling this and you're saying, and you're looking at them, cleaning the handle or the doorknob as you come in. That is reassessing confidence to the customer that, oh God, we are cleaning this thing. Don't worry, we got you covered. Now, it's that experience that builds the confidence, because the truth is, if they don't see it, I don't believe it. I don't know if I'm communicating. But if I don't, so the thing is to let them show the customers or your clients what you are doing to make sure. Everybody has their nose mask on. If they need gloves or they don't need gloves, or you're seeing the staff themselves also sanitizing or also washing their hands, that reinforces that confidence in the business all the way to the rooms. And when they're in the rooms, you know, it's like, sir, please, while you're indoors or while you're moving around, or they show you a sign telling you that you have to have your mask on all through when you have to be in the public areas, then you can tell that they're enforcing. And once they give you that confidence, because then again, they reserve the right to throw you out if you don't have a nose mask, or not, or refuse you service if you're not complying. Now, once they stand their ground, then you can be like, oh, these guys are legit. And once you feel that way, there's no way you won't go back to that service, because you already feel at home. You already feel like they got you covered. I hope that was able to answer that to me.
Thank you, Aisha. So I think we have one more person. We have Mr. Hassan Zachary, but please, I want to create your indulgence, Mr. Hassan. We need to go to the next panelist now. So you ask your question after the next panelist speaks. I'll just take note of that. So we'll be going now to Dual Kruger, the GM of the Envoy Hotel in Abuja, one of those hotels that make you smile. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure, welcome, and greetings from Abuja.
Thank you. It's raining cats and dogs here in Lagos. What's it like there?
It's overcast. It might be raining now, so yes, might be the same. Okay. But always friendly and smiley here in Abuja.
Great. So my first question for you will be, one of the issues we have with tourism in Nigeria is customer service. So how do you, sometimes in Nigeria, you really have to remind the frontline staff of the hospitality concern, of the tourism business, you know, to smile. You know, sometimes I go out of my way to say, hello, smile, you know, because of course I'm a tour operator and I understand how important that little smile can do. So how are you ensuring that your staff are always at their best in terms of customer service, especially when it has to do with locals? I'm emphasizing especially when it has to do with locals, because I know you have a lot of expat guests, and sometimes, yes, easier to smile to foreigners. You have the Nigerian mentality that the foreigner is coming with dollars, so it's easier to smile. But how do you, preach this and ensure that your staff are always at their best when it comes to customer service?
Thank you for your question. I think Brian touched quite a bit on it, and he's lucky that he's got a training department. We're not such a big hotel, we don't have it, but we are committed doing it, and we make our best to, for lack of a better word, to enforce it. From me, myself, my HODs, it's a constant pressure, and unfortunately it stays pressure until it becomes a natural habit, and then it becomes a pleasure for everybody. When I start here, we used to say, oh, how are you? No, I'm good. No, we said, no, I am great. And what did we try to do them to look and feel great? We need to do that as well. We can't just do lip service. We need to see, are you great? Are you looking fine? Are you healthy? Are you happy? Are you dressed well? Are you doing a meaningful work? Are you trained to do your work? And is there just a reward for your work? So I think we put all those things in line to make sure our guys take their job seriously, they take themselves seriously, and they take our guests seriously. And I think we really achieve a good service at the end. I must say we changed to a local training company, and I'm very happy with the results. They've got, it's easier for them to do follow-up training and in motivation and follow-ups. So I'm very happy that we in fact moved it locally. Like Aisha says, let's look locally. And I'm happy. I'm happy what we've got. It's still a high quality, high enough quality. We've got our standard operating procedures. We keep to it. And yeah, we carry on.
Great. Thank you. So what conscious efforts or strategies do you employ to get your guests, your visitors at the hotel to experience local attractions and to support the local tourism industry?
Just one question, maybe going back. We believe in a good guest feedback system. So we get feedback online and they point out this was good, that was bad. This staff member was good, that one was bad. So that is very valuable information that obviously asks for reward and correction if it needs to be corrected. So a good feedback system is very good. And I think we're honest, we're paying their service charges, we're paying their tips. So, you know, you need to do those things. I hear of hotel owners that interferes, maybe over interfere, which is a pity. So I think we're doing a good thing. In terms of promoting local attractions, I've been in Nigeria for a number of years, and obviously I would like to experience Nigeria firsthand. And before I can promote anything to a guest, I need to go and experience it myself. So, so far we've had no disasters, and I think we've got some fantastic experiences in Lagos and also in Abuja. I was really worried that I will not get the same nightlife and experiences in Abuja than I got in Lagos, but Abuja's got a lot to offer. Our favorite spot is the Mogadishan fish market and many others. So before I can recommend anything, I need to go and check it out myself.
Well noted. So I'm sure Mark Moore of Monthly Travels is there in Abuja. So Mark Moore, that's my personal challenge. So that we get the GM to experience some of Abuja. We need to get you to enjoy some of the attractions in Abuja. Interestingly, there's so much about Abuja that even Abuja residents don't know. Sometime, I think 2 years ago, I found out that there's a waterfall in Abuja. And I'm sure if you ask Abuja residents, 99.9% will not know that that kind of attraction exists. You know, so, and that's why we're having this kind of conversations, so that we can get collaborations going, we can get those channels of communication open and start to talk to ourselves, and so we can increase this awareness for our people and for our guests as it concerns the hotels.
Are you talking about Gurara, the Gurara Falls?
Not Gurara.
Oh, okay.
There's actually one called Kura.
Okay. No, check it out.
It's Kura of Karu. Sorry, Karu Waterfalls. Yes.
Okay. No, I've not been there. But you know, also we've got this fantastic Zuma rock here. So we took a drive there to see how can we soothe it. Can we walk around? Can we touch it? Can we climb on top of it? And unfortunately, there's nothing you can do there. You know, if that rock was in South Africa, we would have had mountain bikes going on. We'll have flown off it. We'll have a whole nature area around it. Just for interest's sake, Table Mountain attracts about 1 million tourists going there. There's nature trails. There's a restaurant right on top of it. So it's just there. The rock is there. I understand it might have some cultural sensitivities, but it's an opportunity right here in Abuja that goes missing. They can do the same at Zuma Rock, at Asir Rock. They've got a lovely nature reserve and the zoo is around it, but all the animals are in distress. It looks unkept. I will not be able to take a guest there. They've got lions in a container there. It's really shameful. So those are easy things that you can fix. It needs just a bit of attention. Nature conservation should work in. Veterinary services should go there and make a complete package. Aisha was talking about package, and Brian was talking about package the product. But it's no use you say, oh, we've got a rock, we've got a fountain, we've got a dam. It's no good. The parking area must be fine. The entrance must be there. You must have vendors for food. The place must be kept. Now, I've been to Madaguri. They've got a zoo in Madaguri. There's one elephant in Madaguri Zoo. It is a terrible sight to see that animal. So it's fine to see these things, but it's difficult to make it work.
Great.
Yeah.
My next question will be, how can accommodation service providers help to positively mold the attitudes and motivations and in fact the preferences of the Nigerian public towards domestic tourism? So now I know that you do a lot of business, you have a lot of business tourists as guests, being a five-star property. But then how do you also start to target and help Nigerians to appreciate domestic tourism so that you can get a lot more leisure tourists?
Yes, we are a busy luxury city hotel. So tourism is not really in the forefront of my mind and in our business mind. It's not really in our model. But as Brian and Aisha said also, you know, the reset button has been pushed. People are going to fight to see what business is left, what business model is going to work. This is a new thing. We don't know what lies ahead. So first we'll scramble and establish some sort of base. And obviously you will go for the easiest, quickest thing to establish your base. And then after you have that, then you'll see, oh, okay, maybe I can go for a package. I can include a city tour or something. But for now, it is business unusual. Secure your base, make sure you've got money in the bank, you pay your staff, you pay your customers, and you go forward. But also what Aisha said, what I like is, she says, you know, look at it, look at your local products, fix it, clean it up, then you can promote it. I can't take my guests from all over the world to go and, okay, she talked about killing a fish. Yes, is the place nice? Is it hygienic? Is it safe, you know? Those things need to be on the forefront. If you're going to relax, safety is at the back of your mind, not on the front of your mind. If you're a guest or a tourist, your place should take care of your health and your safety. That is a given. Okay? So developing tourism here, you know, that's not on the front of my mind. Tourist attractions should do that. Get their place in order, get their house in order. And I mean, we've got nature reserves coming here, but the place is falling apart. I can't take my guests there. They'll come back to me and say, what do you think you're doing? And also, it's not that we only want to take them to sheltered positions. I mean, if you go to Sunny Abacha Fish Market, it's rough and ready. It's like the Wild West there. But it's fantastic, you know, they fry your fish there, the vendors are there, everybody's haggling, and that is what you want to see. You know, you want a real, authentic experience. Or you go to Freedom Park on an open mic night on a Friday. There's people selling kunu and suya, and they drink palm wine, and they sing from 4 stages. That's an authentic experience. But then getting out of there, trying to get back there on the 3rd Mainland Bridge, you know, that takes 3 hours. It's you know, you're not really in the mood for anything after that. You know, you want to go to your hotel after your business meeting and sleep. You don't want to go to wherever else. And one place, I'm sorry I didn't go for at Lagos, is the shrine from Femi Kuti. That is still a thing that must be nourished and promoted. That's really a worldwide thing. I think President Macron was there now not so long ago. So yeah, we're getting the highlights. Mark Zuckerberg, I think he went to Yaba. I mean, Yaba is really rough. I don't know if you've been there lately. But yeah, there's a lot of places which is interesting.
So, that's the point really, and I think that's one of those things that we have continued to try to preach to Nigerians that look, what especially when it comes to international visitors, what the visitor is looking for is not our skyscrapers, but the authentic experience. Just like you have said, what are those experiences that we can give to the client that makes them remember the destination and want to come back. Thank you so much. I would go to the house now and then see what questions we have. Mr. Hassan, if you still want to ask your question, please raise your hand. So I'll call you now. Otherwise, let me see what questions we have for you from the chat. Mr. Hassan, are you there? Okay, fine. So let's take your question.
Good evening, gentlemen and ladies. Good evening. Efe, I don't know whether mine is a question per se or a comment. First, I will apologize. I joined in late, 30 minutes late. I was juggling from another webinar. I want to put it to all the hotel panelists for today's discussion. As a tour operator, we have a series of issues that I want the hoteliers in the house to address. One is the issue of STO rates and corporate rates. Hello? Can you hear me?
Hassan, we're listening to you.
Okay. The first issue I want to raise is, why are we as tour operators not having STO rates? We are joined together with the corporates of this world. The same corporate that you give the same rate with the tour operator is the same corporate that me, tour operator, also market. The corporate is my client, is also your client. And I come to you, I want to give you guest, give you a client, and you give me corporate rate. So I'm dragging the rate, the same rate with businesses. Elsewhere, all over the world, what we know is STO rates, standard tour operator rates. So that's my first comment. Secondly, as a tour operator, one of the major challenges you also have in offering good pricing and quality service to our clients is double occupancy room. And when I say double occupancy, I am referring to twin bedded rooms. Why are our hotels not able to provide twin beds in a room? Why are we not having twin beds in a room? That's another challenge. Third challenge is human capital in most hotels is very poor. Now, if I tell a hotel that I need a double room, I am shocked for them to tell me that what they have, what they consider a double room is a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom with like a suite with 2 different rooms. That's not what a double room is. A double room can be a big bed that 2 people can sleep on, a queen size or a king size, or a twin room. So the hotels need to educate their staff to understand what a double room or a twin room is. Those are the challenges we face as tour operators with the hotels. I don't know, and I'm not talking about some hotels in Abuja, Port Harcourt, Lagos. No, I'm talking about hotels. I don't know whether I'm in the house outside these major cities. But even in these major cities, we still have these challenges. So I would like to please talk to the hotels in this house to give us STO rates. Create, even if you have 50 rooms, why don't you make like 10 of them twin bedded rooms? These twin beds can still be joined to form one single bed, if you understand what I mean. This is the international best practice. If we want to improve our quality of service in Nigeria, we must work with the international best practice. This is all I can remember for now. As time goes on, I will probably remember more. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hassan. Mr. Diwal, do you want to respond to any of those comments or?
Yeah, what I can say, Efe, is that I think Mr. Hassan is a tour operator and we're hoteliers. So we've got each our business that we are good in and we are trying to make the best of it and applying best practices that we know. In terms of the pricing, we live in a dynamic environment where the prices fluctuate. So if anybody comes with a good proposal and a good rate, we will always accommodate them. It's just a thing that you need to guarantee volume. But I think that's going on another tangent. We're talking about tourism in the hotel industry. So I think we should go back to the topic.
So thank you. Let me see what other questions we have before we move to the next panelists.
Good, thank you.
Okay, I can't find any. Let me, so thank you, Mr. Dewald.
Well done, thank you.
If there are any other questions directed at you, we would be happy to call you back.
Thank you.
I'd like to go now to Mr. Tunde. Can you please raise your hand, Mr. Tunde?
Yes, I can. I'm with you now.
Oh, great.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Sorry.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, sorry. I have to hide behind the curtain because my light just went out in my office and it's raining cat and dog. So I'm running on battery now.
Oh, great.
So I might not be able to show my face.
That's the more important thing is that we can hear you. So,
all right.
So let me go straight to my question, my first question. Your hotel, we've been talking about collaborations and partnerships, and I know that your hotel, you had a long-term relationship with travel trade, especially with Nanta, over the years.
Yes.
Now, what lessons do you have? What lessons do you think other hotels can learn from you in terms of collaborations with tour operators, travel agents, and others within the tourism industry?
Yes, the lesson there, well, it's when we talk about collaboration, it's you scratch my back, I scratch your back kind of relationship. The tour operators or the agency, the travel agency, they do most of the work for the hotels because they go out there to search for the guests and then they bring them back to the hotel. So it makes it very easy for the hotel operators to run their hotel. All they need to do is just as we have the other OTAs, but the travel agency are closer to the guests than the OTAs. The OTAs people go online to book, but the travel agency, they do a two-in-one kind of business. The guest comes in for the customer comes in to book for airline, and at the same time, they present hotels to them where they could lodge. So it's a two-in-one kind of business they do, and it goes a long way help hotels that are collaborating with them. So we've got we enjoyed very good relationship with the travel agency that we are working with. So it's encouraging for hotels to collaborate with them.
So let me ask you about the issue of the STO rate. That is one of the major talking points, especially with the tour operators on the group today, because this is a challenge. Everywhere in the world, there are STO rates, and of course, you can't deal with them. So why do you think there is that reluctance to introduce the STO rates in Nigerian markets, especially when it comes to international brands? I mean, I've seen some internationally managed hotels, we're talking about international chains here, who have STO rates in properties outside Nigeria, but when they're in Nigeria, they are not offering STO rates to tour operators here. What do you think would be the issue, and how do you think we can get around that?
Well, that is, there is more to it than we think. The STO rate, first of all, the international brand that they're talking about, they have a target. There's always this agreement. What they basically do is to sell rooms at a budgeted rate or at a budgeted amount to the owners of the hotel. So they prefer to sell the rooms at a rate that will make them to hit the markup that is being given to them. So you discover that if they have to go through, and besides, if you look at it in Nigeria, basically, if you look, don't let us deceive ourselves, if you look basically in Nigeria, there is no market for tourism per se. There is no real market for tourism. You will discover that most of the resorts we have, or even the tourist attractions we have, they are not being well managed. So they are not really attracting anybody. And then for the STO rate, we don't have a centralized body that is determining anything like that. And if you look at hotels in Nigeria, they run differently. The majority of hotels we have in Nigeria are run by individuals. And individuals don't follow procedures. It's only when you look at international managed hotels that you get to see procedures. You get to see the way the staff are treated. They are treated in a more humane way. They are treated in a way that the staff will like to work with the organization, and even guests coming to such hotels, we want to go back to that hotel because of the standard and quality they've seen there. So majority of the hotels we have that are being run by international hotels and by international managing companies are tasked with the responsibility of selling just the rooms. And when tour operators come, tour operators want rock bottom prices. And most of these hotels are not designed, most of these international hotels are not designed for tour operators. Like Mr. Hassan said that when he requests for a twin room and something like that, you discover that like my hotel, we don't have, rooms are not double rooms. We managed to have 5 rooms that are double rooms, but we sell them as a single room. Because it's only when companies, our corporate clients, when our individuals request for those double rooms, that is when we can split the only 5 rooms we have. So in the design, at the designing stage, most international hotels you see in Nigeria are not designed for such. They are not designed for tourists, or they're not designed for double room sale. They are to just sell beautiful, well-furnished rooms. So that's why it might be difficult at times for tour operators like Mr. Hassan to get twin-bedded or double rooms. He can only get such in an hotel that is designed with a conferencing facility in mind, like the special hotels, like special conference hotels like the one we have in Ogiri, TCC Ogiri, is a conference hotel. So those ones are designed, they have that in mind when they were designing it, and it's meant for such. But for the known brands you see around, they are just to sell beautiful rooms that will take care of individual businessmen that are coming in. So the government has a lot to do when it comes into, when we talk about this tourism or tourist guide. Because if you really look at it, a lot of our tourist sites are handled by the government and they are in shambles. Just like the GM at Envoy, Mr. Kruger said, you cannot just take your guests somewhere that you are not sure of the security. You cannot take your guests to a site that you are not sure of what they will get when they get there. Or a place where they will get there and then they will come back to you and tell you that for taking them to that hotel, for taking them to that center, you've lost a guest. And nobody wants to lose a guest, because if you lose one guest, I tell you, you've lost 10 guests. So we need to be very careful when we are looking at, and then in my own case, or in our own hotel here at Leola, we've not really had anyone coming to introduce to us a tourist package. We've not gotten anything like that. But if they come and it's well packaged, of course, we can look into it and discuss. But I can assure you that we only have 5 rooms that are double. And if those rooms are not occupied, then we can't take in any other, we can't take in any group that needs a double room.
Great, thank you, Mr. Tunde. You have just said something that all the tour operators here should take note of. Nobody has come to you with these packages. So this is basically in line with what we have always said, that these channels have not been taken advantage of. And I think that the responsibility or the onus should be on the tour operators to do more in terms of building these packages and taking them to the hoteliers to introduce to their guests. I want to assure all the hoteliers who are listening in today that all around Nigeria, there are tours, there are attractions that will excite whatever category of clients or guests that you have staying in your hotel. And this could even mean more revenue for you, because in the long run, what you're looking for is an extra night. You know, when there's a reason to enjoy a local tour, then it means extra nights for you, and I'm sure that will do well for your bottom line, as well. So I am taking this challenge to tour operators, and that's the reason why we're having this conversation, so that we can look at what are the things that we were not doing well, or what are the things we're not doing, and how can we start to do them so that we can have positive collaborations for the interest, for the mutual benefit of all of us in the sector, or in the tourism industry. Let me see what other questions I have for you. In the meantime, Mr. Tunde, I'd like you to let us know what other practical advice do you have or recommendations do you have? And then also tell us about your brands. What ideas do you have, especially going forward from this whole COVID-19 period?
All right, thank you. Well, recommendation I can make now for the growth of this industry. First, the government needs to, one thing is that collaboration, which is what we're using. We need to collaborate, the government, the travel tour guides, the hotels needs to collaborate. We need to come together and see how we can work together to make, to develop tourism in Nigeria. Then the government on their whole part too, they need to do a lot. They need to encourage, they need to make sure these tourist area or tourist centers are well attractive. It's not just we having a tourist center that has been there for donkey years and we keep talking about it and nothing is done to improve it. For example, now the governor, one of the governors in Ogun State then tried to make the Olumo Rock more attractive by creating lifts. He made lifts there, lifts to lift people up to the top of the rock, where to the top where they could see the rock and see the town properly. Something like that. The government they have a lot to do in order to make these centers very attractive, safe, and make enough room for people to be able to park, and that is park their vehicle, and they need to repackage the centers. Then another thing is the government also needs to make these tourist centers known to the people through the hotels or through the hotels. I remember that was the time I went to Lagos State Tourism Board. I was running after them, chasing them they came to our hotel one time for grading, and I went back to them to get our scores and everything like that. And well, what they told me was that they've been asked to stop, that grading should be done nationally, that whatever grade a four-star hotel gets in Lagos, the same hotel or a same four-star hotel in Abuja should also be graded the same way. And for almost 5 years or thereabout, they've been waiting for Abuja to give the directive, which they have not gotten. I also went to them to get collaterals to showcase to our guests when they come so that they can know where the various, at least something introducing Lagos State, all the tourist centers that are in Lagos State, how they can get there. The first one I got was, I think it was in 2014 or thereabout. And when I went back to them, they had to scratch everywhere, and then they brought back the same thing, which is not updated. And you see, it's not easy for me to sell those areas to my customer. I'm not, I'm selling rooms. But if I have to sell the state government too needs to encourage me to be able to do that. It's not my duty to go around and gather all the tourist centers and present it to my guests. But the government can make effort to put this together on something that I can showcase to my guests, it will encourage them. And then, like I said initially, the tour operators need to come together and look at what we can do together as tourist operators and hotel. Because there are people who come in, they're coming for business, they now set aside 2-3 days or 2 days to look around the town before they go back. They want to take something back home. And they don't know how to move. They are not sure if the cab around can give them the best service they need. So if the tour operators can come together and organize how people can be moved around these tourist areas we have, then once guests indicate their interest, they can organize how these people can go there and bring them back safely. Then another thing I think the government should do is to collaborate with public sector. A tourist site can be handed over to any interested public organization to manage. Because I believe when they manage, you see how companies are managing roundabouts, how companies are managing lawns in Lagos. It is their social responsibility. They manage, and if they have to manage like a site, even if they are going to take a token for it, it will also help along the way. They will promote it as they are promoting their business. They are promoting those sites also, and they will keep maintaining them. It will not be a gory site when you get there, or you get to a zoo now, and the animals are not, they are looking unkept, they are looking, not looking fed at all. And if somebody mistakenly gets in there, they could feed on the person, because I'm sure a zoo that is not feeding the animal will not take security into consideration. So the government has a lot to play, a lot to do in promoting tourism. With COVID now, we are forced to look inward. We are not, the international airspace is not going to be open, it's not going to open soon. So what we have, even the local airspace too is not, the date has not been fixed yet. So we need to look inward to what you have domestic, within us that we can develop and make more attractive. So the government has a lot to do in this case. The tour operators and hotels needs to come together and collaborate and see how things can move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Tunde. So I'd like to ask that anyone who has a question or comments from all that has been said so far, please raise their hands and we'll call you. I'll read some of the comments from the chat now. I'd just like to, on behalf of tour operators here, say that immediately after COVID, or as soon as the opportunity makes itself available, tour operators will make arrangements for farm tours for as many hoteliers as possible who are interested to enjoy the attractions around them. I think that one of the problems that we have is that because we have not really marketed these products to Nigerians, the hoteliers themselves do not even know what attractions there are or who to talk to. And that's why we are having this meeting. From the first meeting on the 6th of June, we agreed that we're going to create a Telegram group for the tour operators, and we're going to start to get these conversations going. So we will do that, and we'll ensure that we invite the hoteliers, as many as can make themselves available to enjoy the attractions around them. And I'm sure you will be converted, you'll be convinced of the wonderful attractions we have. I'm sure if I ask you, Mr. Tunde, have you heard of the natural sauna that we have in Lagos?
Natural
sauna?
Of course. Sauna.
Natural sauna, yes. Yes.
No.
Somewhere where you go with hot water coming out, hotter than what's it called? Than a warm spring coming out of
I've not heard of it.
Ikogozi. It's called Ikogozi.
No, Ikogozi is in Osun State. Yeah,
Ikogozi is in Ekiti State.
Kitty State, yeah.
Yes, but somewhere in Lagos, close to Channels TV. So, Mr. Tin, I promised to take you on the tour there, and I'm sure there are other tour operators here. So what we'll do is we'll work with all the tour operators. We'll create some of these farm tours, and we'll ask for hoteliers and others to join them, so you can basically enjoy these attractions. Mr. Diwa, do you want to say something?
Yeah, somebody just mentioned something about statistics, and it's been very difficult to get any statistics from any of these sites. Just a question there, which do you think is the most popular tourist site in the world? According to Google, it's Niagara Falls. They attract about 30 million people a year. Now just think about that, 30 million visitors in your town, in your shops, in your hotels, in your restaurants. And just by chance, Notre Dame was burned down last year. How many people do you think they attract? They attract 12 million people per year. That's about 30,000 per day. They each pay €6 just to visit the church. Imagine all the coffee shops, all the taxis, all the trains, all the airports that feed off that. Now, if that was my city's income, my country's main attraction, I will definitely spend money to rebuild that church. Whoever can say, yes, you should have given it to the animals or conservation or wherever else, that makes you think. That's a big number. In South Africa, Table Mountain gets 1 million. Kruger National Park gets 1 million visitors. That's good volume, that you can do something. But looking for any statistics for Zuma Rock or Voodoo Mountain Lodge or Coconut Beach or any of those things, there's no statistics even available. So that tells you just that they're not serious about it.
Well, that's one of those challenges that we face with our tourism, but I'm sure that we'll get around it. Thankfully, we have the NTDC actively involved with these sessions. They've been attending all of the meetings we've had so far, from the first 2 meetings and even here. I noticed that Mrs. Funebi is here on this meeting. The zonal coordinator for the Southwest is also here. So they are taking note of all of these things, and I'm sure that we will work with them to see how we can get some of these things going forward. It just needs us to be a little creative. We're in a different environment. We know that, unfortunately, tourism is not on the it's not on the front burner for the government, but for those public institutions like NTDC, we can assure you that there's going to be a lot more done following all of these conversations. I can see some hands. Let me call on Ms. Abiola Ogumbi. Are you there, ma?
I am. Okay, yes. Sorry, it's raining and the internet is unstable. So that I don't go off, I better just stay on without the video camera on, I think. Thank you very much, Efe. Thank you to the panelists. Exciting times ahead for us in the industry. My background is law. I've been an advocate in this profession for over 21 years. I've also been back to the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism for the postgraduate diploma, in hospitality and tourism management. At this point where we are at, I think that Nigeria, and therefore the government and the citizens, have to take this industry seriously. Because at this point in time, tourism itself, in a nation that has a population of 200 million, no statistics, no data at this point in time, but we are approximately 200 million. That's many people, many Nigerians that can stay in any hotel. and you can sell your hotel rooms. I'm not sure any of the hoteliers are biased towards who exactly patronizes their hotel. So that said, for you, you are ready to take Nigerians in there. At some point in time, especially when we talk about corporate social responsibility, and then secondly, we're talking about collaboration and synergy. At some point in time, and we're not doing anything that hasn't been done in other nations. I'm sorry to go personal, but between 1990 and 1994, I was the executive secretary CEO of the Nigeria ASEAN Chamber of Commerce. ASEAN is Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Those are the countries of Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand. That was between 1990 and 1994 was when they were known as the Tigers. And they decided on what they wanted to do with their nation. Let's come back home to Gambia that decided to sell the sun. And what they did was they got everybody's buy-in. Because at the end, when it is successful, we are all primary beneficiaries. So at this point in time, I just want to believe, because if it has suggested, I was actually going to put down my hand just before I called it, has suggested that we will have these farm trips. But I think more than that, I think COVID has done something good for this place, in that the dialogue has started. Convenient dialogue has started. And we have to speak to ourselves and know what we mean when we're talking about collaboration and synergy. I've been in the industry for 21 years. I have taken packages to airlines that stole my packages and tried to run it themselves, but they came down. The collaboration of, you can't even work with just one or two travel agencies. And like I said last week when I was on, I said, you have to decide on what you want to market. We can't market everything. We take the low hanging. We know who the clients that we're after. We get the government buy-in. You know, a simple government buy-in, like, you know, ensuring that the civil servants, a large population that we're already as a country funding because they're paid from taxpayers' money. You know, so we already have that huge population that can be encouraged to patronize the hotels, and the hotels will ensure that when they patronize the hotels, their activities, you know, it's not just the tourist side, their activities as well. There are activities that can be brought within the premises that enable that. You know, so we need to have this conversation. We need to continue this conversation, Efe, where we are sincere. Everybody is sincere. And I'd like to bring the good Lord into this. The good Lord set each and every one of us up with our hands, our feet, our legs, our nostrils, everything. And each of us has to respect the role so that there is no confusion and we can build trust. Without the trust factor, we're not going to get very far. And then government itself, the government institutions have to realize that you are not competitors. There's certain businesses that you're trying to get into that shouldn't be. You should be an enabler and then police the system. I remember talking and putting out there trees. Where we look at it, we can use it as just a baseline. Fortunately, trees, oxygen. Well, yes, security is important. Transform policing. And it's not just policing in terms of the police. The policing of this trust, synergy, collaboration that we're going into, that is what NTDC should be involved in. That, okay, the tour operators are the tour operators, the travel agents are the hotel. A hotel that decides to do this in-house will be penalized. You come in with a package and then the hotel decides the concierge is the tour guide. It's happened, it happens. We're not moving us, we have 200 million people. Why? For crying, why? We're scratching the surface. We need to come together and very quickly. This is a time where we can have those discussions. So by the time COVID, we get our hygiene together, we get our best practices together, we are ready. We turn this region over, you know, we turn it around. We have in-house already capacity. And you know something? There are two ways to make foreign exchange. And I'm talking to government here now. Is either You spend less going abroad and keep it within, which you've discovered over the last 3 months, or you bring more in. We are strategically positioned to do both. And we need to get it serious. We need to start putting the round pegs in the round holes and the square pegs. Look for people who are interested in advocacy, who can look at the big picture. It's the big picture. A tour operator is not just, oh, I put a code together. No, you're looking at what it is. You're working with statistics and data. You're looking at what is it that you need to do. Why are you putting this tour together? What is the short term, medium term, long term? You don't have 100 or million tour operators. No, you don't. It's not understanding the separation of powers or the separation of roles in here. There's the general overlap at some point in time, you know. But please, we're losing money for this country. We're losing not just income, even the health impact on the citizens. You know, so Efe, please get the conversation going. Thank you very much for this. I'm very proud of Nigerian Travel Week. I mean, deliberately marketing Nigeria. Fantastic. Focused on what we should be focused on at this point in time. Thank you very much. Question to the hotels is that I hope they're sincere, you know, and then of course, different rates. Like in most countries, there's a different rates for the locals, there's a different rate for the Africans, there's a different rates for the foreigners. You know, there are different things that we need to talk about, you know, but this conversation is so key. It's a conversation, a good time. Interesting times to be alive. We thank God for that. Thank you, Efe. I rest my case.
Thank you, Ma. So whilst we are at this, I want to quickly, I think I mentioned this when we started, but a number of us may not have been here. So many years ago, when Donald Duke was the governor of Cross River State, he did so much. Today, he's Mr. Tourism. I mean, everyone who does tourism talks so proudly about him. He is one person who really did so much. But the question is, why was it that all that he did for Cross River State wasn't sustainable? Why is it that today Cross River State is not that much of a tourism destination like it was when he was governor? Yes, we have the Calabar Festival, but trust me, Cross River State is far more than just the festival. So that goes to this same issue we're talking about. What structures were put in place so that the tour operators were strengthened to create their products and put them out so that those channels are used. So everywhere in the world, those channels are followed. The tourism board creates the environment, the government creates the environment, the tourism board does large-scale marketing, the tour operators create the products, knowing fully well that they have to do a lot of research, they understand the environment, they understand the business, they know what experiences they can create to interest the guests. The hoteliers, the other service providers pitch in because now they are giving the tour operators special rates, which they can then create these packages with. They then sell to the travel agents who have very wide network of clients. I mean, there are over 6,000 travel agents in Nigeria today. So if you have so much travel agents who are the ground marketers running around to get these tourists, why are we not getting our hotels filled up? Why is it that we have hotels that are running at 30% or less occupancy all around Nigeria? There was a comment about Obudu Mountain Resorts. Why is it that Obudu should have problem with occupancy rates? You know, because it's one of the most beautiful places you can ever visit in terms of the natural environment on its own. So this is why we're having these conversations, and I'm happy that we're talking frankly to ourselves. Just like Mr. Gumbi said, hope that we can take this forward and action these thoughts that we've been having. I'd like anyone who has questions. We've spoken to all the panelists. We'd like to take any questions and comments before we round up for today. We have made it an important point to round up today. The past two editions, we spent 3 hours. We said today we must try and conclude on time. So we have 10 more minutes to round up for today so that we can be done by 6 p.m. or later 6:10. So if you have any questions, please let me see your hands.
Efe, hello, Efe.
Yes, please.
Just a little comment. Yes, little comment with regards to the comments you made on the Cross River State. I think basically the problem with the sustainability of the tourism industry development in in the Cross River State was because that wasn't seen as a statewide development plan. It was basically a Donald Duke plan. So, and that plan stopped when that governor left the state. And then when Leo Limeko came, started from reducing the duration, and it even got worse with the current governor. So, even if you look at the federal government as a whole, tourism is usually not regarded as a very important sector in the country. You will see, for instance, the current administration merged information and tourism. And the guy at the end of affairs is an information person who pays more attention to information than to tourism. So when we do not have a conscious development plans that will actually see through different administration, we cannot sustain the development of tourism. And like Tunde and the GM of Envoy said, we sell hotel, the tour operator should sell the tourism sites. And now who develops the tourism sites? It should be the government. So you cannot promote a site and then the guest is looking at, oh, well, I am going to see something wonderful, only to go there and see grasses everywhere. The places are not painted, perhaps mouse running around it and all of that. So there needs to be a collaboration. First, government needs to create, the infrastructure and enabling environment. Tour operators need to know exactly what they are marketing. And then, of course, the hotels are there to provide support services for the tourists. So when you hear that tour operators feel that the hotels are not collaborating with them, is because when you come with a product, we need to really understand what product are you coming and what value added is it to the hotel. If we do not find value, you're not going to see, no hotel is going to go into collaboration when this is not going to be a win-win situation. So I think perhaps I think that should address the issues on Cross River State and other matters. Thank you.
Thank you. So, just like we have said, it has to be sustainable. It has to be sustainable, and we must work at it. It won't be something that will happen overnight, but we must put in conscious effort. No tourism destination in the world that is successful today is where they are because it just fell on their laps. There has to be sustainable and conscious efforts. Look at what Dubai is today and what they were a few years ago. I mean, the ruler of Dubai made a conscious effort and he said he wants Dubai to be number one. And when he was asked what is number one, he said number one in everything. And today, they are actually number one. When it comes to medical tourism, look at what they're doing. Look at what they're doing in terms of their hotels and their attractions, building the best of all kinds of attractions that they ever conceive. So that's where we must get to. But it must start with us all playing our parts. Let me go to Mr. Chima. Quickly, 30 seconds, so we can take more comments, and then we round up in the next 5 minutes. Chima, are you there?
Good evening. Good evening. Can you hear me? Hello?
We can hear you, Chima. Please go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Very insightful conversation so far, right? I have one contribution and then I have a question, right? Owing to the feedback that have been given and reasons why the hotels might not be very excited about joining with tour operators, right? I believe that one of the major concerns would be as regards the volume of customers that the tour operators can pull in. That being said, I noticed, right, that by basic thinking, you would understand that one single tour operator is, even at their best, is very limited to how much they can pull in. So I believe that a solution to that would be if there was a way to aggregate as much tour operators together, pull together a proposal per se, and then forward to the hotel. I want to believe that the numbers would be enticing enough to get the hotels to at least look in that direction. Then owing to this fact, right, if I'm wrong, I need clarification on that. Then owing to this fact, I want to ask the hoteliers, right, the hotel owners especially, knowing fully well that there's usually a lot of bureaucracy that goes into government, and yeah, naturally government takes some time to effect changes. Can this, if this proposal is brought forward by a private organization that has been able to maybe pull together, say, I noticed the tourism board, I think Nanta in earlier conversations revealed that they had about 6,000 tour operators registered, right? So owing to this fact, if we have a private organization that is building up this capacity, say they have, say 500, say 1,000, would that conversation be an open conversation for a hotel to at least consider? Owing to the fact especially that if you consider it, the worst case scenario will probably be, okay, after making this agreement, if these people don't come with customers, well, they are busy looking for customers where they are. But if they come with customers, then we can get a consensus where there's an agreed rate going on. So these are my questions. The reason why I'm asking this primarily is this, right? The reason why I'm asking this primarily is this. My business is looking at the possibility of pulling this together. I want to know if this is something that the hoteliers will consider having a conversation around or not. I think that's basically my contribution and my question. I'll be happy if it's answered per se.
Okay, thank you, Chima. So you have raised a very valid point about tour operators working together and then aggregating their requests. And I'm sure that that is something that the tour operators will discuss going forward. If there are any more questions or comments, kindly raise your hands. Okay, so we'll take finally Mr. Dual, do you want to say something? Your hand is still raised.
No, thanks, Ify. It's still on the previous question about the statistics. I'm fine.
Okay, okay, great. So now let's go back to, okay, before we go to Mr. Hazan, let's listen to Mr. Sahid Adeleye. Is he there? I saw his hand just now.
Oh, yes, FA, I'm here.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah, thank you again to you and the team for a great job, and again, very insightful meeting it's been. All right, so I continue to play the devil's advocate, which is to say that no doubt we do have a lot of reliance on the government to do things, but we should also clearly understand what are our roles. Now, governments are in place to actually maintain, drive vision, and also manage the citizens. For tour operators, for hoteliers, for corporates in general, we're in the business of making money. So if certain things are not enticing enough, to monetize, folks might not really be excited. So I think, again, this is your TED session running, and I really appreciate it. But I also think it's time that we start putting some factual, low-hanging fruit, achievables together. Mrs. Ogumbi says it all. She is one great resource that I believe you've been opportunity to come across now. And my take would be to approach. Perhaps it's time that you begin to build your database from the networks that you've already achieved with this, in the past 2 sessions. Meaning, begin to identify the areas within the country or zone within the area of the country to start with. The hotels, the tour operators, and what have you that are actually willing and ready to get things started. Secure, whether it's through the national body or you work with local, bar associations, to begin to put contracts in place that actually embodies these individuals and this collaborative effort. Whether or not you want to leverage existing facilities for tourism, or you want to speak to other local states close by. For example, you talk about Lagos. Yes, Lagos has got a population, but between Ogun State, between Ondo State, between Ibadan, these are potential states that, things can be created around, and you guys can agree together and present it to the state governments in partnership with your national body that at least you have support with right now, and then bring it on from there. Because I tell you, just as one of your guests already said, the airspace is not going to open anytime soon to favor our country. You understand? Regions of the world are focused right now on how to manage, first, the pandemic. Secondly, is to regain revenue that they've actually lost. So I think it's a perfect timing for us to be able to look inwards, create within our own local territory, and leverage the number of the population that we have. So again, thank you to you and the team and everybody, and we must continue to push this agenda, but it's time to also start with action. Thank you.
So thank you, Sahid. We've had a very rewarding time today. We've been able to pick out a few pointers, and we have an idea where we want to go to concerning these discussions. We've been able to make it clearly known that, look, we all have roles to play, and hoteliers basically want to fill their rooms, and tour operators want to get those numbers as well. So how do we get them going? We will continue with the resolutions we made from the first meeting, that we're going to publish a list of tour operators that we can vouch for, that we can say are reliable, and we'll send these across to the hotels who are willing to partner. And just like I also said earlier, we'll also go ahead to then also organize farm trips for hoteliers who are also interested to enjoy the attractions around them. And hopefully we can then start to build confidence, because just like Mr. Dual said, once he experiences this, once a hotelier, a GM experiences this and you enjoy it, then naturally you're more confident, you're more happy to, refer this kind of services to their guests. And what we want going forward is for every hotel in Nigeria to have at their front desk or at their concierge desk, contacts or small flyers or brochures of tour operators, of products that their guests can enjoy. It's not just sufficient to say, look, we have Olumo Rock in Nigeria, or we have Yankari Game Reserve there. The question guests want to know is, how do I get there? Do I have a reliable tour operator who can take me there, who can help me enjoy the experience? And will I be able to get back safe to my hotel? So thank you so much. We, like I said, we want to round up on time. In the absence of any, let me quickly take the comments of Mr. Hassan before we round up. And he says, we're almost sounding like a broken record on issues with Nigerian tourism. I don't know how we expect to get things right without a plan. The master plan on tourism over a period is very critical to moving forward. We cannot continue to dwell on the problems when they are identified and solutions given in the tourism development master plan, which we have refused to implement. So yes, that tourism master plan was developed by the UNWTO and the UNDP in 2006, and unfortunately it has not been implemented. But just like we have always said, the major reason we are having these meetings is to see what we can do as private sector to get going, whilst nudging government to also join. But we know that we are in a peculiar environment and government will join at some point, but we must get going. And we continue to use the example of Nollywood. Once we start to show that the numbers, once we start to show that we have the numbers, any government whatsoever will take notice and start to play some parts. So thank you all for the time you have taken, and thank you for joining this conversation. Next week, we're going to the next sector, which I think is food and beverages. And so we'll be trying to look at their own problems and issues as well, and how they can contribute to the bigger picture. For any further comments or questions or inquiries, please send a message to me or the co-host, Mr. Amololu Olumuyiwa, who is here with us. He's the president of ANJET, which is the Association of Nigerian Journalists and Writers of Tourism. So please send your questions or comments to any of us, or send us an email. If you want us to also get in touch to you, we did not do registrations because of the technical issues we had last week. So please, if you did not register last week, please send us your email address, either on the chat box now, or you can send it to me on 080-7676-7671. I'm taking that again, 080-7676-7671. So send me your email address so we can add you to the database and send you the communique from this meeting, as well as the communiques from the last 2 meetings. And we look forward to having these conversations up till we have 7 meetings in all. So please don't be tired, but it is not going to be an easy process. But we believe that now that we have some downtime, we can use this time to talk about these issues and look for creative, sustainable solutions going forward. So thank you all. I am unmuting everyone now to say our final hellos and goodbye. And we've had a very rewarding time. Please join us next week.
Thank you. Cheers, Efe.
Thank you.
And that's why people like iPhone.
Enjoy your weekend.
Efe, well done. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well done, Efe.
We're listening at the background and taking notes.
Yes, NTDC.
Yes.
We're going to make things happen.
All right, bye.
By God's grace, it will happen.
Yes,
Amen.
All right, okay. Bye.
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 Somebody that wants to be heard.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Efe. Bye.
Bye-bye.